Hello, everyone. My name is Andres Melendez, and this is my Journey Across the World project for my regional geography class that I'm taking right now. The purpose of this project is to create a hypothetical trip where we will travel around the world, see different regions, areas, different countries, and obviously different cities. So here I have my PowerPoint presentation so you guys can kind of visually see where we're going to be going. And I have my globe right here next to me. It's a brand new globe. I just bought it. And it lights up. And it lights up so you can see all the countries, areas, cities, and everything, all, names of oceans and stuff. So I'm going to use this as a visual representation as well. So you guys can see like where we're going to be at on the globe as we travel from our first point to our last point. So it's a little bit lengthy. We have 30 cities we're going to be seeing, but along the way we're going to be seeing a lot of beautiful areas, beautiful cities, magnificent landforms and geographic areas. So if you guys want to pack your bags and travel with me, we're going to be heading to the Union Station in downtown Los Angeles, because Los Angeles is going to be our starting point, and we're going to travel to our first region and our first destination. So let's go ahead and begin. So we have our takeoff. As I mentioned before, our starting point is going to be here in Los Angeles, and I welcome you to our first region, which is the United States and Canada. And our first destination is Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada, which is our northern neighbor. So yay. So if you guys want to see, I'm gonna move this over so I can see it over here. So here is North America right here. This is the US, Canada's right up here. British Columbia is this green territory right here. And Vancouver is right down here on the corner, just above Washington State on the border. So Vancouver right here. LA is actually down here. Los Angeles, California is down here. But Vancouver. So we're going to be traveling a train, and we're going to go all the way up through Oregon, Washington, across the border into Vancouver, Canada, British Columbia. So this is where we're going to be going. First destination, first region. And so our travel time is going to be about 50 hours because it's a train. We have to accommodate for stops that are going to be made along the way for a total distance of 2,055 kilometers. Now, I left everything in kilometers only because the rest of the world uses the metric system, and the US is one of the only very few countries that does not use it. We use miles, but we can do the calculations later. I'm just gonna leave everything in kilometers because it was just easier to research and do all the information and data to gather for distance and traveling between areas. So I'm just gonna leave everything in kilometers. Not a big deal. So I welcome you to Vancouver, which is our first destination. As you can see, it's a beautiful city right here. You can see the downtown. There's mountains, vegetation. It's a lot of forest up in that area. So we're going to be spending a couple days here. There's a lot of outdoor activities, hiking in the winter time when it snows. There's skiing. If you guys are up for that, you guys are more than welcome to do that. I'm not going to do that because I don't ski. But Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada is our first destination. So I welcome you, and let's go ahead and move on to our next one. So, because we're in the US and Canada, I'm not going to spend too much time on this region because we live here and we have access to see it already. So I'm not going to spend too much time because we kind of already know what's around here. So we're going to stop with our first region, and we're going to travel to our second region, which is Latin America and the Caribbean. So we're going to go further south, and we're going to take another, I believe we are taking another train. Yes, we're going to be taking another train to our next destination, which is our border friend to our south. And we're going to be going to Ensenada, Baja California, just south of San Diego. It's about maybe like an hour or two south of San Diego. So and our travel time is going to be a day and about 13 hours. It's a little bit lengthy because we're going from the top of Vancouver all the way down to Mexico. So it's going to be a little lengthy drive, train ride, for a total distance of 2,394 kilometers. So as you guys want to see on the map, as I showed you, Vancouver's right up here, and we're going to be going all the way down. And Ensenada is right here at the top of my fingerprint, right here, as you guys can see. Ensenada's right here. So Vancouver all the way down. We're going to be coming through California again, and we're going to just take a trip to Baja California, I'm so sorry. And here it's a nice port town. It's a port port town. It's not a big bustling city, but it's a nice port town. It's on the beach, so lots of beach activities, outdoor activities to do. As you can see, this is a picture of the city side with the Mexican flag in the background. As you can see, all the hilltop ranges and mountainous terrain in the background, and then you have your port towards the center and bottom of the picture. So this is a really beautiful destination. A lot of people have traveled here, and I've heard good reviews, so I figured, why not? Let's start our second region, which is Latin America and the Caribbean, and we're going to begin with Ensenada, Baja California. From there, we're going to move a little further south on the peninsula, and we're going to be coming to destination number 3, which is beautiful tropical Cabo San Lucas in Baja California Sur. So as you guys can see right here, I have a beautiful picture of the citywide area, the port cities. You can see obviously more mountainous terrain in the area. You can see the beautiful blue ocean area, and of course the Mexican flag in the background to dominate what country we're in. And to get here, it's going to be, we're going to have to drive because there's no train systems that go from Ensenada to Cabo San Lucas. So we're going to be going down. And here we, oh my God, I didn't recognize oh, right here. It's going to be a 19-hour drive, which is not too bad. And for a total distance traveling of 1,520 kilometers. So it's a little lengthy, but it's not too bad. But in between there, it's a lot of dry terrain, desert. So there's not so much to see. But when we get to Cabo San Lucas, it's more a little bit tropical because of the climate. Because as we go further south, and we're hitting that tropical Capricorn area. And then after that, we'll be hitting the tropics if we go even further south. So it's between that borderline area. And if you guys want to see it on the map, actually, here's the tropical Capricorn. It's this line right here. You guys can see this line right here. This is the tropical Capricorn, and it runs all the way down here. So Cabo San Lucas is at the very tip of the Mexican Baja Peninsula, right down here. So this is where we're going to be going. So Ensenada, Baja California, all of this, and then Cabo San Lucas is at the very bottom of this here. So we're just south of the Tropic of Capricorn, and that's why it's a little more tropical climate. So we have more rain, more rainfall, more vegetation, and it's really beautiful, as you guys can see from this picture right here. So after that, we're going to move on to our next destination, and our destination number 4 is going to be in Mexico City, La Ciudad de Mexico. But to get here, we're gonna have to do a little bit of traveling and everything because we are on a peninsula, and to get to Mexico, we would have to, if we wanted to take it by land, we have to backtrack north towards Ensenada and then go around to the mainland. And we're not gonna do that, it's just gonna take too much time. But what we're gonna be able to do is we'll be able to take a ferry across. So from Cabo San Lucas, we're gonna travel a little bit north, a 2-hour drive, to La Paz, which is the capital city of the state of Baja California Sur. From there, we're going to take a ferry to the city of Mazatlan, which is on the mainland of Mexico, still on the west coast. And from there, we're going to take a bus from Mazatlan down to Puerto Vallarta, which is still on the west coast of Mexico. So we can see a little bit of the scenic view, explore the area, and it's a very popular, beach town type of destination. So we'll be able to spend some time there and relax a little bit before we head on to our next pit stop, which is going to be Guadalajara in the state of Jalisco. And then from there, we will get to our final destination, which is Mexico City. So we're not going to spend too much time in between La Paz, Mazatlan, and Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara because we're trying to get to Mexico City. But I figured we can make a few little pit stops along the way and see how beautiful. And if you see right here, I have Mazatlan, which is the picture right here at the top left. And then here, I have Puerto Vallarta. And then here, I have Guadalajara. Oh, so I'm sorry, you can't see it. And then here, I have Guadalajara, Mexico in this corner right here. And then over here on this picture is La Ciudad de Mexico, which is Mexico's capital city, Mexico City. So we're going to be traveling through all these port areas. There's a lot of culture, a lot of history in these areas. Just beautiful beaches, beautiful landmarks, and the climate is going to get a little more tropical as we go further south, so there'll be a little more greener, more vegetation. It's going to get a little humid, but to get over From Cabo San Lucas to La Paz is going to be a 2-hour drive for a total of 157 kilometers. The ferry will be 15 hours. From Mazatlan to Puerto Vallarta is going to be 7.5 hours for a distance of 445 kilometers. And then from Puerto Vallarta to Mexico City, it's going to be a 14-hour drive for 925 kilometers. So that's our destination number 4. And if you guys want to see it on the map right here on the globe, so we have La Paz. Mazatlan is right here on this area. So if you guys go, it'll be right here. And then Puerto Vallarta is just south here. And then Guadalajara is right here. And then Mexico City is right here in the center. So we're basically going to be going like this all around. Cross, come down. And our destination number 4 is Mexico City, Mexico. So this is where we're going to be going for destination number 4. Now, after Mexico, we're going to travel a little further even south. We're going to get out of Mexico, go explore some other countries to our next destination, number 5, which is going to be Panama City, Panama. Panama City is the capital city of the state of Panama. And as you can see, this is a beautiful picture right here of the downtown area along the coastline. There's some parks and there's a major road. But this is where we're going to be going right here. Now, to get down here, we're going to have to travel through a few countries. We're going to be going to Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica. It's going to be a 2-day and 7-hour drive. Can't take a train. But distance of 3,369 kilometers. So yes, it's going to be a little bit of a lengthy drive, but in between there, we're going to be able to see some beautiful countries with a lot of vegetation, mountainous terrain. Actually, my family is actually from El Salvador, so I figured that would be a nice area, at least for me personally, because I can actually see like where my family comes from. Because I know they're from the eastern part of the country, but I don't know anything else as far as that. But anyways, for that, so you can see Mexico, big green state right here. And we're going to come all the way down to Panama, which is down here. So Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and then on to Panama, which is this yellow one right here, before we get to South America. So we're traveling from here all the way down this way into Central America. And that's destination number 5. After that, we're going to move on. So our next stop is going to be Cartagena in Colombia, which is we've now moved from Central America to South America. But to get there, we can't get there by foot or by car or by vehicle, because what we have known is, as you guys have mentioned, is the Darien Gap. So the Darien Gap is a landform area which is on the border between Panama and Colombia. The thing about it is that there's a lot of dense jungle, there's a lot of dense terrain, like a very steep mountainous terrain. It is very, very difficult to navigate and get through it from. So there's no civilization, there's no roads to cross it. You have to either fly over or go around by boat. So to get around to our next destination, we are going to be taking a cruise through the Caribbean to get to this area. So, as I mentioned, our next journey is going to take us from Central America to South America by boat. And it's going to be a cruise that's going to take about 4 days for a total distance of 451 kilometers. So we're going to have 4 days where you can just sit back, relax. We don't have to do any more driving. We don't have to travel anywhere really. Well, we are traveling, but we're not going to be, we don't have to be sitting down or anything. You guys can take a chance to relax, unwind, get a drink, soak up some sun, and just enjoy the view, of a nice 4-day cruise before we get to Cartagena, which is right here in Colombia. So that's going to be our next destination, number 6. Now we're going to move on to our next destination, number 7. So we're going to go even further south. So before I mention that, I want to show you where we're going to be going. So Panama is right here. Colombia is right here. So we're going to go this way around to Cartagena. So we're going to go like make a little north and then eastward track. And then Cartagena is going to be right here. If you guys see it right here, Cartagena, Colombia. We have now officially landed in South America, in the continent of South America. So after that, then we're going to go even further south to the capital city and a twin sister city of LA, which is Santiago, Chile. Santiago de Chile, if you want to call it. So to get here, we are gonna have to drive. So after we have our 4-day cruise of relaxation and we get to spend some time in Cartagena and see all the beauty that it has to offer, we're gonna take a drive and go further south, and we are gonna go from Colombia all the way down to Ecuador, through Peru, to Chile, on to Santiago. So now we have crossed the equator, and now we are no longer in the northern hemisphere, we are now in the southern hemisphere. Oops, so our seasons have changed. So we started off, it's summer here, it's winter here. So Santiago de Chile is right down here. Chile is this long stretch of country right here, this long one right here, and this is where we're going to be going. So we're going to be driving all of this. It's a very lengthy drive, but we get to see capital cities such as Quito in Ecuador and Lima in Peru along the way. So beautiful cities, there's a lot of rugged terrain. And if I remind you, we're also going to be driving to the Atacama Desert, which is southern Peru and northern Chile. It's one of the driest areas in the entire globe. Some areas have not seen any rainfall in years, and I believe it's decades. So there's going to be a lot of scenic views and everything. We'll make some pit stops along the way because it is going to be a 6-day drive for a total of 8,000 kilometers. But we'll get to explore Santiago, Chile, as we've seen right here. So after Santiago, spending some time there, we're gonna cross the beloved Andes Mountains, which are on Santiago's eastern barrier. And the Andes Mountains are one of the tallest mountain ranges in the entire world, and they run from basically the top of South America all the way to the very bottom. So we're going to cross the Andes Mountains, and we're actually going to be taking a train. We don't need to drive or do anything crazy like that. We can actually take a train, and we're going to be going to our next destination, number 8, which is Buenos Aires in Argentina. So for a total distance of 1,406 kilometers, and it's going to take us about a day and 6 hours. So we'll be able to have one day where we can just kind of relax from a long drive that we just had from Colombia to Chile. But now we'll be able to take a train, and we'll be able to see these mountains. These mountains are really beautiful. There's a lot of snow. They're snow-capped. They're high in elevation. So we'll be able to see some really beautiful areas and some very good rugged terrain. So I welcome you to Buenos Aires, Argentina, which is destination number 8. And if you want to see it on the map, right here on the globe, Santiago is right here, Buenos Aires is right here, so we have to cross the Andes Mountains, run right through here. So we'll cross and go on. Now we're on the eastern part of South America, which is border with the Atlantic. We're no longer on the Pacific side anymore. We're going to be moving to the Atlantic, to Buenos Aires, Argentina, which is basically the Paris of South America. There's a lot of French and Italian architecture and influence based on the history because of immigration and people that have migrated to the country over the years. So here's a beautiful picture of the city side. They have their own little Washington monument. I can't remember the name of it, but Buenos Aires, Argentina for our destination number 8. And then after that, we're going to be going a little north. And here we're going to be traveling to the beautiful, fun country of Brazil. And we're going to be going to Rio de Janeiro and Brazil. Very popular destination. It's been in movies, in books, and TV shows and everything. We'll be able to see Copacabana Beach, be able to enjoy some sunshine, enjoy the culture and the food and everything that Rio has to offer. So to get here, we're going to be traveling by car, unfortunately. It's going to be 33 hours for a total distance of 2,600 kilometers. But I welcome you to Brazil. And if y'all want to see it, Buenos Aires is right here. Brazil is this big green one right here. So we're going to be going all the way this way to Rio de Janeiro. And may I remind you, we're still in region number 2. Remember, Latin America and the Caribbean is Mexico, is all of this. Mexico, the Caribbean, and all of South America. So we've spent some time in region number 2, but Rio is going to be our last stop for region number 2, because after region number 2 in Rio, we're going to board an airplane and we're gonna fly over to our third region, which is gonna be Europe. And our first stop in Europe is gonna be Lisbon, Portugal. So let's get on the plane in Rio and let's go ahead and head over to our next destination and our next region. I welcome you to Europe. And here we're going to be going to Lisbon, which is the beautiful capital city of the beautiful countryside of Portugal, if I recall. And Portugal is a West Coast nation. So because it's on the Mediterranean, it has a lot of Mediterranean type climate, which is very similar to LA. So a lot of mountainous terrain, beautiful, a lot of hills and everything. It's a port city, but very similar climate to here in LA. And if you guys want to see it right here, it's going to be beautiful. And our travel time is going to be it's going to be a 10-hour flight for a total distance of 7,739 kilometers. So now we get to sit back and relax. We don't have to do any driving, no bus, not even a train. We can just sit back, get on an airplane. We're going to move on into Europe. After Europe, now that we're into Europe, we're actually gonna explore and we're gonna go northbound. So after Portugal, we're gonna go eastbound and we're gonna go into Spain. And for Spain, I welcome you to destination number 11, which is Madrid. And this is beautiful Madrid. As you can see, the architecture that is here, there's a lot of history, there's a lot of culture. Spain has a long history, being that it was its own empire at one point and everything. It used to be one of the largest empires, I believe, in the whole world. That's no longer the case. But we're going to be traveling to Madrid, and we will be taking a train. We don't have to drive. From Lisbon to Madrid, so travel time is going to be 10 hours. It's going to be 10 hours, not too bad. And for a total distance of 628. So we're going to be going from beautiful Lisbon to bustling Madrid right here. And if you guys want to see it on the map, we are now in Europe, which is this whole area right here. So now we're in Europe. Lisbon is right here on the west coast, and then Madrid is right here. So this is the Iberian Peninsula of Western Europe, Lisbon and Madrid, and beautiful Spain. It's also wine country too. Well, if you go further south, but Spain. Anyways, let's move on. So now we've come to destination number 12, and I welcome you. Bienvenue à la France. So our next stop is going to be, we're going to stay on the Mediterranean because France's Mediterranean coast is really beautiful. It has Mediterranean climate, which is very similar to here in LA. There's a lot of nice little towns that we can see, but before we get there, we're going to be traveling to Marseille, just on the southern coast of France. And here you can see Marseille in the background for this picture that I've provided. You can see hills, the beautiful architecture, and the ocean and coast, well, not the ocean, it's the Mediterranean Sea. But you can see how it looks right here in the picture. We're going to be taking, this whole time we're going to be taking a train because it's just more easier and there's a lot of scenic views that we can see along the way. So distance we're going to be traveling is 1,146 kilometers for a total time of 8 hours. So from Madrid to Marseille, we're only going to get there in about 8 hours. So our travel time is kind of going down a little bit, but on the next time we'll be able to relax and enjoy the beautiful scenic views that southern France has to offer. And if you want to see it on the map, France is right here, Marseille is right here. So we're going to be going from Madrid up to Marseille right here. This is where we're going right here. Now, after Marseille, we're gonna make a little bit of a quick stop because there's a lot of areas in between our stop in Marseille to our next stop. Our next destination is gonna be Rome, but in between there, there's a country in Principality that I want to visit and take y'all to, and there's gonna be some other cities that we're gonna see. So in between Marseille, we're gonna be coming to the city of, which one did I pick? Of Nice, which is right on the coastline. After Nice, we're gonna go to Monaco. And as you guys know, James Bond, the giant Grand Prix that they have, Monaco, and then from Monaco we'll be going to Genoa now in Italy before we go on to our final destination, which is going to be Rome, Italy, the capital city. So before we see that, as you can see right here, this is this is going to be Nice right here. This picture right here is Nice, so you can see the beautiful coastline, and this is I think this is that sunset, so you can see how beautiful the city is. After that, we're going to Monaco. Monaco right here is a lot of port city, there's a lot of boats and everything, very high rugged terrain, expensive luxury area, but it's really beautiful. You know, figure why not make a pit stop here. And then at the bottom here, I have Genoa in Italy. You guys have seen the movie Luca. You guys remember Little Town? Kind of similar to that. Similar architecture and type of small city that you see here in Italy. So we have now moved on from France onto Italy, and now we're moving on into Rome. So welcome to Rome, the capital city of Rome, and from there we're going to be taking the train from Marseille, and we're going to go ahead and go through the and I also mentioned we're also going to be going through the French and Italian Alp mountains. So just like we had to cross the Andes mountains in South America, we are now crossing the Alps mountain range, which is another beautiful mountain terrain. There's a lot of hiking, but during the winter time, especially particularly during the winter, there's a lot of skiing and everything. You know, if you guys see these, you know, pictures and of these small villages, you know, during the winter, they have like huge mountainous terrain. So we're gonna be going through there and everything. We're gonna be taking a train. So there's a lot of beautiful areas to see that we're gonna be traveling through. And then from there, we're gonna be stopping in Rome to get some culture, some history, good pasta, good pizza, whatever you guys wanna do, you guys can do it here in Rome. And from Rome, we're gonna be moving on to our next region. So Rome is going to be our last stop in region number 3 in Europe before we move on to region number 4. And region number 4 is going to be North Africa and the Middle East. But before we move on, I do want to make out we're going to be making a detour after this next destination that I just come to, and I'll explain later on when we get to them. So I welcome you to Tunis in Tunisia. So we've left Europe, and now we are in North Africa. So just on the coastline, just north of the Saharan Desert. And if you guys want to see it on the map, so we have France here, we have Italy here. We're actually gonna sail and take another little cruise from Rome all the way down to Tunis. So this is Africa, North Africa. We have the Sahara here. Tunisia is this nation right here, and Tunis, which is the capital city. So we're gonna take a little bit of a boat trip on to Tunis. So it's gonna be a cruise of 17 hours for 600 kilometers. So now we get to sit back and also relax a little bit. So we're getting another cruise, another cruise where you guys can just sit back, relax, and enjoy yourselves before we get to Tunis, and we can do some exploring there. So after Tunis, we're going to take a detour. Now we're taking a detour to our 5th region because I want to see a little bit of Africa. But we're not going to spend too much time in Africa because to get to Africa, we have to go further south, and then we have to backtrack north. And I don't want to do that. It's going to be longer and more difficult to navigate, especially because we have to go travel to the Sahara to get to our next destination and then travel back. So it's going to be a lot of time. So I welcome you to destination number 5, which is Sub-Saharan Africa. And our next destination, which is number 16, I pronounce you Lagos, Nigeria. As you can see, Lagos, Nigeria right here. And from here, we're gonna be driving from Tunis to Lagos. It's gonna be a 70-hour drive because it's Saharan desert, so there's not a whole lot of roads that are accessible. So it's gonna be a lot of like going from here to here. It's gonna be detours and everything. It's not gonna be a straight shot. So it's gonna be a little long, but for a total of 4,871 miles. But when we get to Lagos, we'll be able to chill. We'll be able to get back into our tropical climate because once we get to Lagos, we're going to be moving from a hot, dry climate, Mediterranean climate in Tunis, and then we'll be moving into the hot, dry climate when we get to the Saharan Desert, and then back to tropical as we go further south. So after Lagos, this is going to be the only region we're going to spend in Africa because Africa's really big and I want to save some time to get to the other regions because if not, we're going to be here forever. So please bear with me. So after Africa, we're going to go back to the Middle East, region number 4, and we're going to be going to the historical and the great city Alexandria on the Egyptian Mediterranean coast. So you can see right here, this is Alexandria. So you can see it's beautiful architecture. It's right on the coast. There's a lot of history and architecture is actually named after Alexander the Great. So I figured why not start off here with some actually good culture and history. And we're going to be driving, unfortunately, but it's going to be, and to get through here, we're going to have to go through some areas. There's going to be a lot of traveling to get out of Nigeria. We're going to be having to get out of Nigeria, we're going to have to be going. So let me show you right here on the globe. So we had Tunis right here, and we traveled all the way down to Lagos, Nigeria, which is down here. But Alexandria is right over here, so we're gonna have to backtrack and go all the way out here to Alexandria, which is on the top of Egypt right here. So Nigeria, Egypt, Alexandria at the top right here. So we're gonna have to be going through Chad, parts of Libya, possibly Sudan, and then southwest Egypt, and go up that way. So it's gonna be a little bit of a lengthy drive, but you know, once we get to Alexandria, it'll be worth it. We can just sit back and relax and enjoy the beautiful city that this has to offer. After Alexandria, we're going to take a quick drive over to the capital city of Egypt, which is Cairo, nestled right on the Nile River, in the Nile River Valley. And if you go further north, actually to get from Alexandria to Cairo, we're going to be traveling through the Nile River Valley Delta area, where the Nile spills out into the Mediterranean. And so here we have Cairo. As you can see, Cairo is nestled right here on the Nile. It's a bustling big city. It's right in the middle of the desert, but because of the Nile, there's a lot of fertile areas, so that's what promoted the city to grow and thrive. And it's only a 2-hour drive, 2-hour and 20-minute drive for a total of 219 kilometers. So it's a short distance. We don't have to travel that much. But because the city holds such a long path of history and culture, we're going to spend some time exploring. We'll get to see the pyramids of Giza and everything, but there's so much more. There's a lot of shops and outdoor markets within Cairo. It's really big for that. A lot of good food, music, and it's just a lot of culture and history. And I figured why not? This would be a beautiful area to explore. We have ancient Egypt, Cleopatra. So welcome to Cairo. And then after Cairo, we're gonna go eastbound, and we're going to be going to Baghdad, Iraq. Now, I understand Baghdad is probably like a city. People are like, well, why would you want to go there? Well, it's actually beautiful. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of culture as well. The thing about it is that Baghdad is situated on the Tigris River. In between, part of it is on the Tigris, but then you have the other part, which is in between the Tigris and Euphrates River, which are the two major rivers that flow through Iraq. You know, they act basically like the Nile. They provide a big area of fertile ground for, development and land. And in this region, present-day Baghdad, Iraq, was known as the Fertile Crescent, or what was known as Mesopotamia. And these are the oldest records and basically the first records we have of civilization itself. So basically the birthplace of civilization started right here in present-day Baghdad, Iraq. So there's a lot of history there. So if you're a big history fan like me, you're gonna love this area. And plus there's a lot of good food. And the people are actually really nice. I've actually seen some documentaries and done research on here. People are actually really nice and generous, and they do a lot of hospitality and everything. It's the government more that tends to be a little, but the people are actually here really nice, and it's a really beautiful city, a lot to do and a lot to offer. And if you guys want to see it, on the map we have Egypt right here, Iraq right here. So we're going to be going from Cairo all the way to Baghdad, and on the way we're actually going to be going through Jordan and Amman, which is the capital city. And before we hit Amman, we're going to be seeing some ancient ruins of Preta in Jordan, which is a city that was actually carved into the mountain itself, and it still exists there. So it's a really popular tourist spot. There's a lot to see. So before we get to Baghdad, we're going to stop in Jordan and to see this historical creating of the city that was actually created in the mountain, which is really fascinating. So after Iraq, we're gonna go further south, and I welcome you to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is Riyadh, which is the capital city of Saudi Arabia. So we're gonna be driving to get there. Travel time is only gonna be 13 hours, so it's not a lengthy drive, for a total distance of 1,294 kilometers. So Riyadh is it's just one of the major cities within the Middle East, within this region on the Arabian Peninsula. And because of this discovery of oil, this region has been able to boom and become a basic major metroplex. It's become rich and luxurious. And Riyadh is actually one of the few cities that is actually trying to go green and be environmental friendly. They had their major airport centered within the city. They actually demolished it and moved it further north, and that whole area that occupied the airport, they're turning into a giant green zone, basically a big park. I think there's going to be lakes and walkways and paths and stuff. I'm not sure what else they're doing, but I know they're turning it into a big green zone to help with the climate change, because if you guys know, Riyadh is nestled in the interior of the Arabian Peninsula in Saudi Arabia. So during the summer, it gets really, really hot. You have a lot. I mean, it's an arid, dry, hot desert type of climate. So to combat with climate change and everything, they're creating a green zones around it to kind of help with the growing population. It's kind of like a Las Vegas, equivalent to here. And Saudi Arabia is this big purple one right here, and Riyadh is right there at the top. So Baghdad to Riyadh right here. After Riyadh, we're going to move a little further east, and we're going to make a two birds with one stone trip. So we're going to go to the UAE, which is the United Arab Emirates. And here, we're going to be seeing one of the cities is very famous, you all have known. But before we get to our last destination, I want to check out the capital city of the UAE, which is Abu Dhabi. Here, there's a beautiful city. There's actually a grand mosque that is very popular. It's one of the largest in the entire world. It's called the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque. It's really popular during Ramadan. I did some research on it, and I saw a video on how beautiful it was during the interior. So I figured, why not see a little bit of the culture and religion, of Islam, because Islam is the dominant religion for this whole region, North Africa and the Middle East. And after Abu Dhabi, we're going to be going to the fabulous and famous, yes, you guessed it, Dubai. So Dubai is the bottom picture right here. You have the Burj Khalifa Tower, which is this tower right here. It is the tallest tower in the entire world, standing at 828 meters. So to get to Abu Dhabi, it's going to be only a 9.5-hour drive from Riyadh, which is 906 kilometers. And then from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, it's only an hour and a half away for 147 kilometers. So I know it's a little small. You probably might be able to see it, but United Arab Emirates is right here. Abu Dhabi is the capital city, and then Dubai is just right under it. They didn't put it here because of it's a small nation, so it's kind of hard to write it. But Saudi Arabia to the UAE, that's where we're going to be going on next. And then after that, we're going to be going to another region, yet a little controversial, but still beautiful, and a lot of beautiful geographic areas to see. After that, we're going to take a break from the big city and relaxation, and we're going to go to a calmer, more city along the beach, which is along the Persian Gulf. So I welcome you to Iran. Our next city is Bandar Abbas in Iran, which is on the southern coast of Iran. Here, there's a lot of landmarks, and there's a lot of history, and there's a bustling market city center here. So the city is very famous for its outdoor markets, kind of like flea markets. So you can basically buy spices, food, whatever you want. And it's right on the coastline, so it's a little, so it's not too, most of Iran is mountainous, dry terrain, but here on the coastline, it's a little more greener, more Mediterranean type climate. And there's some islands that surround this area, and they're actually one of the most beautiful islands that are, of all Iran. A lot of native species and great vegetation. So from Dubai, we're actually going to take a ferry, 8-hour ferry that's going to take us from Dubai to Bandar Abbas for a total of 460 kilometers. So gear up. So if you guys want to see some more historical culture, we're all right here. So after Iran, we're going to be going to Karachi. It's more a pit stop along our way to our final destination, which is going to be actually entering. So Karachi is actually going to be our first stop for our next region. So with Bandar Abbas, it's going to be our last region within the Middle East, North African region, which is region number 4. So now we're going to be moving on to region number 6 out of the 8, and that's going to be South Asia. So now we've moved on to South Asia. And may I remind you, we're about halfway through this journey now. We've traveled about halfway through this journey. And to show you, so we went to Egypt, we went to Iraq, Saudi Arabia, to the UAE, and we went to Iran, which is right here, and now we're going to be going into Karachi, which is Pakistan, which is this purple one right here. So we moved on from the Middle East, and now we're going to South Asia, all right here. So from Karachi, Pakistan, we're going to be taking a better drive from Iran, which is going to be 18 and a half hours for a total distance of 1,456 kilometers. After Karachi, we're going to be going into India, further east. But to get to India, we're going to be taking a train. We don't have to do any driving. Thank God for that. But to get there, there's no direct train to get. And our next destination in India our first destination when we get to India is going to be Mumbai, formerly known as Bombay. It is now Mumbai. The name was changed back in 1995. It was given back to its, I think, ethnic tribal name, if I'm correct. But we're going to be moving on from there. So we have Mumbai. But to get there, we're going to be taking a train. So we're going to take a train from Karachi to a small city in India called Mumbai, which is right on the border, which is really close to the border between Pakistan and India. And from Mumbai, then we'll take a separate train, which will take us all the way down to Mumbai. So if you guys want to see it on the map, so Iran here, Pakistan, Karachi's right here. Mumbai is actually right up here in this little corner section of India right here. From there, we'll take a train from Karachi to there, and then from there we'll come all the way back down to Mumbai, which is on the west coast of India right here. So we're gonna go basically take a little tour and go that way, this way. That's why it's a little bit of a lengthy drive, but we'll be able to take it by train and actually get some time to relax. And then after Mumbai, we're gonna go further east to our next destination, which is gonna be Bangladesh. So now we're moved on from arid, hot climate, and now we're moving on to more tropical climate that we're gonna be dealing with. So we're gonna be going to the capital city of Dhaka, which is in Bangladesh. And from here, we're going to be traveling. Unfortunately, we have to travel by car because there's no train. So our travel time is going to be 40 hours, unfortunately, for a total distance of 2,206 kilometers for a total distance. And that's where we're going to be going. So that's going to be our next stop, which is in Bangladesh. So if you guys want to see it on the map, India's right here, Bangladesh is right here, this little green country right here. You can see it right here, a little bit green. And Dhaka is right in the center, north of the Bay of Bengal. I can't remember, I believe one of these major rivers, I think it might be, I think the Ganges River is one of the rivers that dumps into Bangladesh, if I'm correct. Which is one of the major rivers in India. So there's a big river system right here. So that's where it's nestled right here. So that's where we're going to be going. The reason why I chose Dhaka is because there's a lot of history and culture and stuff, but there's a lot of manufacturing within this country. Well, within this region. And one of the major manufacturers is jeans. So a lot of the jeans that you wear, that you go and buy, they're made right here in Dhaka, Bangladesh. So it's a really big city. It's kind of crowded and everything, but I figured, it'd be a nice pit stop along the way on our journey kind of see some, kind of see a little bit of South Asia. It's a big city. I'm sure there's a lot to do and everything. But I wanted to check out the manufacturers because this is where our jeans come from. For example, a lot of our materials and clothing come from here. So, Bangladesh. After Bangladesh, we're gonna move on and go to our next destination, which is 26. And we're at 26 out of 30, so we're almost there. But our next destination is gonna be. Oh, so I should also remind myself. So Dhaka, Bangladesh is gonna be the last stop in our 6th region, which is South Asia. Now we're gonna be moving into region number 7, which is Southeast Asia. So now we're in Southeast Asia now. And I present to you our first stop is gonna be the capital city of the beautiful country of Thailand, which is Bangkok, Thailand. Bangkok, Thailand. And to actually get there, we can actually go back to taking a train from Dhaka to Bangkok. It's going to be only an 11-hour train ride. So no more doing these long drives across hazardous terrain. It's going to be 11 hours for a travel distance of 2,391 kilometers. It's a little far, but only 11 hours. You get to sit back, enjoy yourself, enjoy the beautiful scenic view. Now we moved on. We've also moved into the tropical climate because now we're going back further south. If you guys want to see it now, so India right here, Bangladesh, Thailand is this pink one right here, and Bangkok is right here at the top, right here. If you guys want to see it, Bangkok is right there. So we moved from east, and now we're going southeast. Now, after Bangkok has a lot of nightlife and city life party and everything. So if you're interested in that, that's the destination for you. But we're gonna go to a little more area further south with a little more luxury. Singapore. Now, if you guys have seen the movie Crazy Rich Asians back in 2018, took place right here. Beautiful city. It's basically right on the equator. It's like just maybe like a few degrees north. Tropical climate, hot and humid. It rains a lot and everything, but beautiful vegetation. There's a lot of hill country. I think there's dense jungle. It used to be just pig farms and just jungle back in the day, but now it's this big, bustling, luxurious metroplex and everything that offers high value, basically first class everything, from hotels to dining to homes, everything. So I welcome you to Singapore, and we're going to be taking a train from Bangkok to Singapore. Along the way, we're going to be going through Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital of the country of Malaysia. Just still on that same line, as you're going down. So we'll be able to go there. So 29 hours on a train ride. So it's a little lengthy, only because we're accounting for the stop in Kuala Lumpur, which is another bustling city. So it's going to be a little longer, 29 hours, but we get to see a lot of jungle, nice scenic views, for a total distance of 1,830 kilometers. So Singapore, and if you guys want to see it on the map, it's right here. So Thailand, Singapore's at this bottom, right here. If you guys, I'm zooming in right here at the very tip, the very bottom of Malaysia, this green zone right here. This is Singapore right there, basically right on the equator. So we've moved around, and we're going further south, and now we're on the equator before we get to our next destination. So after Singapore, we've come to our last region. So I know that the assignment was 10 regions, but I'm only doing 8 because there's a lot. But after Singapore, we're going to sail. Anybody want to do another cruise? I think that'd be nice, right? We don't have to do more driving a train. So we're gonna go from Singapore all the way down to, I pronounce you, Australia. And our first stop is gonna be Perth, which is on the west coast of Australia. And Perth, because it's a west coast city, it has again similar climate to LA, to Santiago, Chile, to Rome, to Lisbon, to Tunisia. It has similar climate regions, like as related to what we're used to. So Perth is our next destination in Australia, and it's gonna be a 7-day cruise. So we get a week just to relax, unwind, and just enjoy yourself. We're gonna be going through some islands in the Indonesian area, and all the way down south to Perth. So it's gonna be a beautiful cruise. Total distance of 4,430 kilometers. But I pronounce you Perth, and now we've entered our last region number 8, which is Oceania, and Perth is our first stop. After that, we're gonna go back to driving. I know we don't want to do any driving, but I don't want to do any more sailing because the southern part of Australia, its waters are pretty rough, and we don't want to deal with that. So we're gonna stay on land where it's a little more safer. So after that, we are going to travel eastbound across the entire country. We're going to go to the eastern part of the country of Australia. So after our 7-day cruise, we're going to be traveling through the beautiful capital city of Canberra for a total of 3,632 kilometers. But it's only, 39 hours. Driving basically a day and 14 hours, so it's a little lengthy and everything, but we're gonna be traveling to the outback, the deserts of Australia. So there are some pit stops. There's some scenic views because the highway does run along the coast, so we can actually stop and see the southern edge of Australia. Because if you keep going that way, you'll hit Antarctica, but we're not gonna do that because we can. But we could, but we're not gonna do it. So I pronounce you Canberra, the capital city of Australia. And if you want to look at it right here, Perth is right here, and Canberra is right over here on the eastern part. So we're gonna be going from here to right over here. So we're in the southern hemisphere now. We're no longer in the northern hemisphere. We're in the southern. So if it's winter here, it's summer here. If it's summer here, it's winter here. If it's summer here, winter here. You guys know that. You guys get it. So I welcome you to Australia. And then, after Canberra, we've reached the final stop. This is going to be the last stop of region number 8 and our last stop of our entire journey across the world. So I pronounce you the fabulous Sydney, Australia. As you can see, the famous Sydney Opera House right here on the left-hand side of the picture. We're going to be traveling to Sydney. And Sydney is only, it's only a short distance traveling from Canberra. It's not that long. We can get there in less than a day. There's a lot of parks, there's beaches, there's city life that we'll be able to experience. Obviously, there's the opera house that, so if you guys want to catch a nice opera show, I'm telling you, they do really good opera shows. All the famous opera performances in plays come through here. So this is going to be the last stop on the entire journey trip before we have to pack up and go back home. Unless y'all want to stay here, you guys are more than welcome to. I personally would love to, but we have to get back home, right? We have to get back to reality. So after that, this is going to be the last stop, which is Sydney, Australia, and this is the end. So this is destination 30 out of 30. So we've traveled around the world. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major continents. We've seen a bunch of different landforms. We've traveled across oceans. We've traveled across deserts, jungles, savanna, grassland, mountainous terrains. We've traveled all over the place on this journey. We started here in LA. We went to Vancouver, and then we went all the way down, South America, and then we went to Europe, traveled through North Africa to Western Africa, came back to the Middle East, went through the Middle East, and then we went through South Asia right here, and then on to Southeast Asia, and then we ended up finishing in Australia right here. So this is a really neat project and everything that I really would love to do in real life. Hopefully I'm able to do it at some point. But I wanted to share it with you guys. I have the PowerPoint and everything, but I wanted to do a visual thing to kind of explain things a little bit and like where we're going. And you guys can actually see on the globe, like, where we're going. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everyone that decided to travel along this journey with me. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I know it was lengthy. I know there was some parts where we had to get to, travel great distances to get to where we were going. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. We got to see a whole bunch of different areas, a whole bunch of different regions. We got to experience different cultures, religion, food, music, people of all sorts of the world. There's so much more than just where we're than just of the United States. So I really love this project. I've been excited to do it ever since it was first announced. But I just wanted to share this with you guys, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the pictures and my geeky descriptions and quirky, stuff of describing things to you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, because I'm a geography nerd myself, and my major is geography, and I'd love to do this in real life. It's gonna be hella expensive and and a lot of time to do it, but yeah. So thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Bon voyage.